so much material, and we just got to kind of get into it. Usually, I start late. I'm usually up in the hallway with the kids for a while, but today, I just don't have that time. We got to get going. Good morning. How are we? Okay, quick question. Have you done your homework at all? Anybody doing their homework? Not one. Not one. Okay. I've done a little bit of it. All right. I will take a little bit. All right. So I'm going to say it again. Okay. The classes are good. If you go home and you do the homework, it's going to get really, really good. Okay. If you got to discuss some of these things because that's where your connections are really going to happen. Okay. If you do your homework this time, there are true and false questions at the beginning. So the first part is true and false. You will find out your answers next week, okay? So the answers are not going to be on there. I was going to put answers on the back so you can check your answers, but I think you'll just go ahead and cheat. So I'm not doing that. So what we're going to do is next week I'll give you those answers. Will you do the first part? Man, there's a lot of them on today, aren't there? That's good. All right. This is going to be the class. And the class is the differences between men and women, right? So everyone's going to walk out of here and go, I get it. I got it all. We're all ready to go, right? That's what we're going to do today. Yeah, I'm lying. If you walk out of here saying that, it's amazing, okay? That would be a miracle. The thing I want to start talking about in the beginning here, and I'm going to try to emphasize all the way through the whole class, is this. There are differences between men and women. Did you know that? Amen. There are? You understand that? Here's the crazy thing. A lot of people don't. Right? Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. What does it say? We're all created in the image of God. Right? And I don't have time to go on all this. I have like 4 pages of other notes. So we're all created in the image of God. Right? It's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day. We're all created in the image of God, right? We start in the very beginning, and what you find is God breathed life into us, right? God breathed life into us, and we are created in the image of God, and we are incredible. Now, if you go to Galatians chapter 3, verse 28, what is that one talking about? Galatians chapter 3, verse 28, we are all one in Christ Jesus, right? Now, so you go to the very beginning of the Bible, we are created in the image of God, right? Male and female, created in the image of God. You go to Galatians and you find out that we're all one in Christ. But are there differences between men and women? Yes, okay? If you go to Ephesians chapter 4, verse 4 through 8, okay? If you go to that passage, you're going to talk about, this is talking about the body of Christ. And in that passage, you're saying, hey, some people are the eye, some people are the ear. And we're going through all of that. But we are one body, but we are different. So in every other aspect in our life, you can look at work, you can look in the Bible, you can look at the church, we can say, hey, everybody has different talents, everybody has different abilities. And we understand that. But we are different when it comes to men and women, okay? All right. So we're talking about real relationships, and the reason we're talking about that today is that when we understand the differences between the men and women and how we think and how we feel, and we apply those things, our relationships become much deeper, right? If we understand the other side a little bit, then we will understand how to have a deeper relationship. I don't know how many people I have talked to over the years in my ministry, singles mostly. They're like, hey, I want to have a great relationship with a guy. I want to have a great relationship with her. Or I hear, oh, I really like this guy. I want to have a great relationship with this guy. And they kind of get close. It's like having an electric fence, you know? And they get real close to understanding the other side, and they get zapped, and they back up. They go, I don't know, right? How do I bridge this gap? How do I connect with the other side? And a lot of times there is just a distance, and we're trying to figure out that distance. Really interesting, the case study of watching children grow up and the relationship with the opposite sex. Okay, 3 years old. You been to kindergarten? Any differences between best friends? No, doesn't matter. They say 50%. It doesn't matter. Of the opposite sex. It could be a boy, it could be a girl, they're best friends. Age 5, that drops to 20% of the opposite sex being your best friend, right? Age 7, almost non-existent. Adolescent, there's a whole new universe, right? Like there's like, men are from Mars and women are from Venus, and there's no cross of this best friends. It just really doesn't happen. There's this beginning of two different places. At a university, several experiments were done. Same university. There was some underground tunnels at this university. So what they did, they blindfolded some of the students, men and women. They took them through this maze underneath the university, took their blindfolds off, and said, "Where is this specific building on campus?" What do you think happened? What was the differences between men and women? How do you think the men worked? I got it. I don't have time. You guys are looking at me with a blank stare. You don't make the mistake of saying the wrong answer. So guys were able to understand where that building was. They're like, "Hey, that building," even though they were underground, blindfolded, walked around in the tunnels, they were like, "The building's over there," and they were right. Women weren't able to do that very well. Same university, different experiment. They sat men and women, these students, in a room. The experimenter said, "Hey, I'll be right back. I got to do something." For 2 minutes, they sat in this room. Okay? There's a desk, and they were kind of in an office kind of thing. That was the experiment. They came in and said, "Describe the room to me." How do you think the men did? Trash. Women were 70% better of describing the entire room, and this collective things that had no correlation with one another on the desk, they described perfectly. And the men were like, "There's a desk?" Right? Are men and women different? Well, the answer is absolutely yes, there are differences. But here's the thing. If you go through our society, the 60s and 70s said to us what? What do they teach you? Because it's still emphasizing you right now. You said it. They're the same. There is no differences. And the feminist movement pushed through our country and has pushed even into our belief system when we come to the Bible, have dictated to us a new truth. The equality, they said, if there's perfect equality between the sexes, everything will be fine. And even the people who were studying this, they were told, "You can't say that. Everybody's equal, everybody's the same, everybody can do everything the same." And the researchers, the scientists are standing there going, the worldly side are saying, "That's not right. We are different." And here's the thing, we need to embrace the differences because it makes each other better, right? There was a study, and I remember this even from my anatomy and physiology classes. It was in this book as well that they were talking about it. Our brains are even different, right? They say that for women, there is a super highway between the left and right brain hemispheres, right? Man, there's a ton of more connections than we have. What does that help us do? What does that help you guys do? Do you guys know? Your verbal skills are outstanding compared to men, right? And you know that. You guys are able to just relationships between people, between your friends and such, are absolutely incredible because you have this super highway. Now, men, their left and right brain hemispheres are a little bit more separate. I know some of you ladies are saying, "We didn't know you had one," right? But it's a little bit more separate. And so what happens is, we have abstract understanding, visual and spatial intelligence. Guys, I can tell you this. I'm sitting in my car. I'm coming out of a parking lot. My wife says, "You don't have enough room." And then we say, "Yes, I do." And we pull out. No, it doesn't mean that she doesn't understand space. Our brains are wired differently, right? I absolutely love what Robert Bly says about this, describing women's and men's brains. Women's have a superhighway connections, while men have this little crookedy country road between the two. Now, does that mean that's bad? No. We're just different. We're just different. So this is a quote that I'm going to take And I'm just going to read it to you. How does this affect my relationships with the opposite sex? If you evaluate the opposite gender's behavior according to your own standards, never considering social and biological differences, you will miss out on a meaningful connection because you are compelled to make that person more like you. That is called fundamental cross-gender relational error, assuming that misunderstandings between the sexes only have to do with cross-purpose and not physiological and biological cross-wiring. What does that mean? Put in your own words. I know there's a lot.
My fault. That's what it means.
Dude, I would not say that out loud, but yeah, I mean, that's making it pretty basic.
It's nobody's fault.
Okay?
It's almost like you're putting unrealistic expectations on somebody else.
Yeah. When you come to the table of relationships, if you sit there and you say, well, you should act like this, because this is how I think, this is how I feel, this is how I see the difference. You see the problem? What's the problem?
They're not you.
They're not you, absolutely. Anything else?
It's pretty selfish.
It becomes very selfish within the relationship. Good. Anything else?
You can only change yourself.
I can't hear. I'm sorry.
You can only change yourself. You can't change you.
Okay, you can't change it, the other person. It just comes down to, guys and ladies, when you do understand that there are differences and you start working through them and you start talking and you start being open with one another, man, that relationship becomes very deep. Okay? And so that's what we're going to be looking at today. So we're going to look at two different things. We're doing really well on time. I was talking too fast. That's okay. Here's the two different things. What women need to know about men. That's what we're going to talk about first, and then what men need to know about women. Now, here's the cool thing about the book that we're looking at, Real Relationships. It's written by a man and a woman. They're husband and wife, and they're both doctors. They're both psychologists. Okay? His name is Les. Her name is Leslie. I was like, so gets confusing in the book. So he'll say like I, and then in a bracket, Les, end bracket, starts talking, and then later on his wife will pick up. The reason I'm telling you that is this. A lot of times we come to books and they're going to be writing on, hey, what do women need to know about men? And it's from a male perspective. I don't really like that, right? And that's really hard because we're talking, like, I want a perspective that I can understand from the female side of things. So I want you to know that she wrote this part of the book. So I'm just regurgitating some of the information. You guys with me so far? To me, that's really important, right? And so we can see that perspective. This is the other thing I'm going to make a very strong point on. These are generalities. Do you understand? You may sit there and say, that doesn't work for me. Okay, that doesn't work. Can I give you the perfect example? How many of you were here for our marriage workshop with Wayne and Tammy Roberts? Can you raise your hand? What was one of the things that they said? She's actually said it in the lecture.
He's the woman in the relationship.
And she goes, I'm the man. What? Personalities, right? Their personalities were just different. They were kind of the opposite. Did it work for them? Their answer is yeah, right? They love one another and they worked through some really hard times. If you were there, you would listen to all of that. So this is just general things. So if you look at one of these and you kind of get a little bit mad, well, I don't understand why you're getting a little bit mad. It's a general statement, right? Can they apply? The answer is yes. But we're just going to look at what they talk about. You guys okay? Because some of you look like you're going to attack me, okay? All right, relax. We're just going to have some fun today. This is going to be a good time. All right, here's some of the things what women need to know about men. And I had to change some of her wording because I'm a guy talking here, but it's kind of a lot harder than I expected. Men are not as in touch with their emotions as women. Agree or disagree, ladies?
Amen.
That's shocking.
Shocking. Were you where that line is from? Shocking. That's shocking. Elf. You ever watch Elf? And he's like, they don't believe. That's shocking. Yes, that is shocking, isn't it? All right, so you guys already knew that. That's crazy. So here's one of the problems that they talked about, and I kind of agree with. A lot of times we want to talk about, ladies want to really talk about their emotions and really, like, hey, can we have a conversation about our emotions? What's the problem? What's the problem on the other side, ladies?
We don't know. We don't have them. How do we don't know how to interpret it?
Okay. No. Yes. Yes. Yeah, so we have emotions, right? We have amazing emotions. We have deep emotions. We actually have, from time to time, deep thoughts. But one of the things that we have a really difficult time is exploring those emotional needs and expressing our emotions. It's not because, guys, that we were just told you're not allowed to. There's some of that. We'll talk about it a little bit in a moment. There's a little bit of that, of how our society kind of tells us what we're supposed to do. But honestly, there's moments when I just cannot verbalize what I'm thinking and how I am feeling, right? And the problem is that when you're in a conversation, a lot of times it's like, tell me now, I need to know, I need to know. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I know, but I can't verbalize it. And it's really difficult for us to do this. A study was made and it was found that parents, who do you think they talked more about emotional needs, the boys or the girls within their family? Parents talking to their kids. Who do you think they talk to? That doesn't count. You guys have all girls, so you don't know. We have all boys in my family, but who got more lessons about emotional needs?
I think girls got more, I think girls get more emotional lessons, but I think boys need it.
Sure. So the emotional lessons that I got growing up was how to control my anger. That's number one. When they did this study, they said the big thing that we actually talked to our little boys about was anger. How do you handle your anger? Because we have anger, right? And it's a lot of times, here's the crazy thing. I had anger because I didn't know how to express my other emotions. So I had anger. I brought anger out. So my parents were like, hey, this is how you handle that. But honestly, what they found was there's more lessons to our younger girls that are saying, like, here's how you express your any of those emotions, right? So what happens is this also goes into our adulthood. Okay. So here's the point, guys or ladies, sorry. You cannot expect men to identify our emotions or their own as quickly as you do. Why are you laughing? Oh, you're laughing at him.
Yeah, not for you.
Oh. Did she just amen you when you walk by? It's like, you need to stay in here and listen to this. Did you guys hear that point, ladies? Can you give us a minute? We'll figure it out. And we want to talk about some of these things, but can you give us a minute? And honestly, something in our marriage is that Sally's helped me walk through that process as well. Are you feeling this? No, that's not it. Are you feeling this? Yeah, it is more like that. And we were able to walk through that process together. But she also understood is that when I know I want to talk about it, but I can't express it, then let it go for a minute so that we can work through that. It just takes us a little bit more time. Men are more independent than we are. When I first read that in the book, I was like, I don't know about that because my wife is very independent. So when we're separated and we're on a different trip or she's going to do college tours or all over the state of Texas, I don't worry about her. She's extremely independent. When I married her, her house was bigger than mine. She moved into 1,000 square feet, God bless her, with one bathroom and a bunch of boys. She's like, this is gross. And we had to get a bigger house just so that she would have her own bathroom. So is she independent? The answer is yes. But let's talk about what they're talking about here. Remember, this is generalities, right? Very early on, so I grew up in a family of 4 boys. My mom was incredible mother. But there was a time when my mom looked at me, and I was a mama's boy for a long time. But there was a moment and I said, I need to break away from this. And my mom actually sat me down. She goes, we're just not as close as we used to be. Why? And she was really worried about it. What do you think happened?
You pushed her away.
I did push her away. The question is why?
I think you become more independent. I'm seeing that in my children. I have 18-year-old and a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
And they just become more independent. And so they just don't need as much, but to teach them still.
Yeah. So do you have a why on that? On yours?
With my mom, I didn't want to have that emotional connection at the time,
Okay, good.
and you don't want to get that from your mom.
So where did you want to get it from?
Good question.
Oh, okay, that's good.
I'm figuring that out.
Okay, no, that's good. So this is a process, and it's a very natural process that there's this moment when we kind of, that snuggling, that's smoldering, I don't know what the word I'm looking for there. Smothering, smoldering, snuggling.
It's a small step.
It's a huge step, yeah. We actually want to break away from that because we want to express our masculinity, right? And so it's not, I'm going to read this because it's just a quote. It's not so much being smothered by their mothers, but smothered by their feelings of dependency. So there's this inner thing inside of men that say, I want to be dependent and I don't want to be smothered. Okay, did I say that right? Did I use the right word that time?
Want to be independent.
I want to be, yeah, I want to be independent, but I don't want to be dependent on this anymore, is what I'm trying to say there. And so we try to break away from that. So here's some things that I just wrote, and you can see, you can't see my notes, but it says interesting in my column, what I wrote down here. The more fragile a man's sense of self, the stronger the impulse to flee. Did you hear that? So the less we feel better about ourselves, we want to run more. Why?
Insecurity.
Okay? Because we're looking for that masculinity in our life. We're trying to find it. And so when we're looking for that. So here's the thing, ladies. Don't expect men to tell you what they need or that they need you. Here's a quotation. But most of the time they are trying to deny how much they need you because it poses a threat to their sense of masculinity. Isn't that crazy? Put that in your own words. What do you think I just said?
Makes me feel less of a man.
Makes him feel less than a man. But am I not supposed to express to my wife how much I need her? Well, the answer is yes, right? I'm supposed to do that.
Isn't the natural?
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Isn't it the natural inclination for man to feel needed?
Mm-hmm.
And so to reverse that to guard against.
I didn't hear anything you said at the end.
Well, just to reverse it doesn't work.
Yes. Yes.
He wants me to need him, he doesn't necessarily want, he might not want me to know how much he needs me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think if you feel like you're the head of the house, which you are, the head of the house, and you are my protector, then you shouldn't need anything to do those things.
I don't need what?
If you feel that you are my protector,
Uh-huh.
then I should be the one needing you, you should be the one needing me.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. That's good. That's good. See how the communication doesn't work? And see how the communication works? Okay? Took me a minute to click there, okay? All right. Let's move on. I need to move on a little bit here. Is that the correct time?
John, is that right? Is what she said right?
What do you think?
I don't know. I have to do that. She's lying.
I don't say she's wrong in public. That's what the car is
See
for.
this real time now.
Move past that. Is she right?
All right. What do y'all think as a class? I'll open it to the class. This is what a good teacher does. What? Who said yes? Okay, why do you think it was right? 2 people pointed at you.
They're yeses. I'm gonna go with that. I mean, I don't know the deep science
Oh,
of
yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's just the natural inclination for the man to feel needed. And so you're the provider, the protector, and I mean, the women can still be independent, and that's what's so hard to teach, is we're not the same, and so independence and strong doesn't negate the man's role as well. And
Okay.
so, I mean, our biggest arguments, like years 7 to 12, was because I didn't need him, but he needed to feel needed. And so that goes into, I mean, it's just kind of nature.
But is the desire to feel needed and relevant, that's not a male or female. that's a human.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's just a binary thing. Everybody wants to be.
Yes, and I agree. If you we're going to go look at Ephesians chapter 5 in just a second. Everybody needs love. Everybody needs respect. But God just shows a distinction because there's deeper needs between male and female as well, right? And so both of those work on both sides, but then there's also a deeper understanding of what the other needs. So what we were trying to talk about there, and where we started with the whole understanding that I want to break out from underneath the smothering of my mother to find my masculinity, there's a little piece of us that says, I need to be able to stand on my own and protect and provide for my wife and my family. And so the more I'm smothered there, the harder it goes, and the worse it goes against our masculinity and what we're trying to accomplish.
Does it go back to that scientific study you were talking about where in the big picture, the male and the direction and knowing where things are, he can find, finding an elk in the mountains, but you can't find the mustard in the refrigerator. But it's
That's
the big
exactly
picture
right.
And the details, and women tend, in my observation, tend to notice and care more about the details, but he takes care of the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to the science.
Yeah, it does. Okay, I need to move on because we haven't even gotten the other side yet. Men are more abstract than we are. Men are more abstract. So while women really like to talk about their fears, their feelings, their experiences, men are more likely to talk about their ideas, their concepts, and their theories. Agree, disagree? Yeah. When we get together, what we talk about is what I know. Here are the facts. This is what's going on, and we absolutely love doing that. Men gather facts, debate opinions, solve the problems, and work through reason with their conversations. Okay. This is a sociologist. Her name is Deborah Tannen. This is what she calls it. How we talk is report talk. Okay. I'm making a report. And we think it's a deep discussion. Really not. We're just talking facts, but we love it. Okay. And if there's a problem, there's a solution, get her done. Right. And that's how we kind of talk. Okay. So we will talk about our fears. We will talk about our feelings. We will talk about our experiences, but just not the same vigilance as women do. Okay. Yeah.
And that's, I'm a scientist. That's my job.
Yeah.
I can write a report like nobody's business. But in college, taking creative writing English class, I struggled. I had a hard time writing a story, but I can write a report, a biological report, a scientific report. I still struggle with writing like creative anything.
Yeah, did you guys hear that? So he's in college, he can write a report, but writing like for English and writing a story, very difficult. And that could be that's a really great example of that, right? You guys are good? So when you guys want to talk about emotions, what do you gotta have to tell us?
Facts.
Yeah. Be a part of that facts. This is what's going on. If you start at that factual level and work your way through and say, hey, this is what's going on. Can you tell me, and you want to know what's going on and understand the emotional sides behind that, then you need to start with the facts. So when you understand that, communication goes way up. Guys, go to Ephesians chapter 5 really quick. I just want to jump here just for a second and we'll go to the guy's side. What men need to know about women. When you come to Ephesians chapter 5, one of those passages that we look at with marriage, right? And what you find there is that Paul does a great example of course, this is about Jesus and the church. And where are my glasses? On my head.
She'll find them. Just sit there.
I'll find them later. That's fine. But when you come to this passage, I understand the context, but there's some really great insights of how men and women are supposed to treat one another, thus representing Jesus and the church. Okay. So when he talks about the guy sides, somebody read verses 25 through, oh man, just go down to verse 31. We'll be fine. 25 through 31.
Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her, to make her holy, cleansing her with the washing of water by the word. He did this to present the church to himself in splendor, without spot or wrinkle or anything like that, but holy and blameless. In the same way, husbands are to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. For no one ever hates his own flesh, but provides and cares for it, just as Christ does for the church. Since we are members of this body. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two will become one flesh.
Good job. Guys, what's God calling us to do? What's God calling you to do as a man of God within this relationship?
To sacrifice yourself.
Sacrifice yourself. What do you mean by that? Can you put a little more to it?
Well, it says that as Christ gave himself for the church, we are for our wives.
Absolutely. Good. Did you guys hear that in the back? As Christ gave himself for the church, we are supposed to give that same sacrifice to our wives. Anything else there?
All of your family's needs come before yours.
All of your family needs can become before yours.
Emotional, physical, whatever that is.
Good.
Spiritual.
Good. I
Even
like
if you didn't break it, you have the responsibility to fix it.
Okay. Anything else? I love the beginning. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Love. Is that sacrificial love? The answer is absolutely yes. But what I've learned through my relationship with my wife and my kids is sacrificial love is there. I'll do everything I can for them. You guys are hitting it right on the money. And if you listen, that's exactly how men talk. What do I need to do? But love is also deeper, isn't it? Because when you start doing those things for that person that you truly love and you come alongside that woman that God said, this is your wife, and you're going to dive into that relationship, it becomes emotional too. Right? So we go past the doing and we hit the other side of this. So we connect. That's hard for us. That's why he talks about it. This is hard. All right, there's the other side of it, right? Ladies, what about you? So look at verse 22 through 24. Somebody read that for me.
Wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands as you do to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. Now as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to their husbands. This is hard.
That's not in my Bible, but yeah, you're right. What are you reading from? My own version? Yeah. If you jump down, this is hard. This is hard. Look at verse 33. However, let each one of you love his wife as himself, and the wife see that she respects her husband.
You know, I wonder, I'm backtracking just a little bit.
Oh.
But as women, we always say, man, submitting is hard, submitting is hard. But on the same side, does a man step back and go, man, loving unconditional is hard? I think there's two hard things there.
I think there's two very difficult things. Very difficult things. But here's the understanding. This is what I want you to pull out. I need to keep moving. I apologize. Men and women are different, and God understands what we need to bring to the table to make a meaningful relationship. He says, this is it. If everybody does what they're supposed to do, prepare yourself, because this is incredible. You're not only going to have a deep relationship, you're going to show Jesus to your kids. How do they learn about Jesus Christ? Oh, we can tell them Bible verses and everything, but I promise you, they're going to watch you as a husband and a wife, and they're going to say, that's Jesus. You look at the previous verses, and Jesus had to submit to God's will, correct? Yes or no? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There's submission all the way across what Jesus does. And ladies, you get to show Jesus Christ. Guys, you get to show love. As Jesus is hanging on the cross, he goes, forgive them. They don't understand what they're doing. That's love. Right? So when you're hanging there, figure it out. Okay? You show amazing things. You guys read the Song of Solomon? Do you know where the book is in the Bible? Where? What's before it? What's after it?
Psalms before, Proverbs after, right?
No.
Oh, no, that's not right.
Who is it? What's before? What's before Song of Solomon? Just curiosity. Ecclesiastes, well done.
Yeah, Proverbs.
Isaiah's after.
And Isaiah is afterwards. Okay, I'm just glad you got it. You guys ever read it? Be honest. I guarantee those pages are stuck in your Bible. You remember you talking about? I don't know, never been here. You had to take the pages off. Yeah, I guarantee. Like there's some pages in here that are kind of off-white. Those are bright white in my Bible, right? Hey, this week read it with your wife and husband. Read it. You know what you're going to find? With this in your mindset, what's the differences between husbands and wives? Song of Solomon explores all of it. All of it. And you can read and go, oh, I get it. That's the differences. I have 5 minutes to do 3 points. All right, we're gonna stop right there. We're gonna pick up next week because there's no way I can do what men need to know about women. But we're going to stop there. So this is what I need you to do. Your homework is over here. Last week's homework, if you didn't get it, there's only a few copies left. I can make more for you. I want you to take your homework home, and I want you to do it. If you do it, what that homework is designed to do, and honestly, I don't know if you can be able to do all of it because we didn't get through the lesson today. That's okay. But it really helps you just kind of walk through some of these things and explore that relationship with one another, okay? I do not know how this is going to go next week, but I'll figure it out. My bad. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I'm not sad. All right. Any questions, any comments you want to make? I have a question for you. Does this kind of class make you uncomfortable when you're talking about the opposite sex?
Talking about myself is the hard part.
Can you say that again?
I said talking about women sometimes doesn't be the hard part.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Anybody else? I'm being on. I really want an honest answer.
It's hard to have an open mind, because after being married, it's like, I don't wanna change, it's worked for now.
Can't. Yeah.
And so it's hard to,
Yeah.
I mean, I wish 30 years ago we probably had it.
I tell you what. The more things I learn, the more things I wish I knew 20 years ago. Right. I mean, I've learned things about children through some of the education stuff that I've been doing lately, and I thought I wish I had that 20 years ago when I was raising my kids. Right. I wish I knew everything right now 20 years ago so I could do it a whole lot better as a husband, a whole lot better as a dad. But here's the thing, you can't take it back. You are where you are right now, and you got to figure it out. And you can always grow, right? A relationship can always grow, always change, and always grow closer to God. Anything else? What are you guys thinking?
I had a thought during it while I was trying to calm down my son. A lot of times, you know what? I'll just speak for myself and my wife. A lot of times we have the same goal, but we want to take two different paths
Mm-hmm.
to get
Good.
there. And that's not a bad thing.
Nope.
And I was thinking about when she tries to calm down the baby, and historically or this one doesn't matter. She's thinking about, okay, what do they need? What's their emotions? What can I do to help them calm them down? When I took him from her, I was like, she needs a break. I'm taking him. I'm going to do whatever movement I need. It wasn't emotion. It wasn't involved. Like, I care about her emotions, but that wasn't mine, which proves the fact point. Like, I was like, what are the facts? I need to get this baby calmed down.
I was holding my granddaughter. She was crying. Sally was holding her, actually. I'm sorry. And she's like, what do you think she needs? I go, just blow in her face. She'll stop crying. She's like, what? I go, do it. She goes, blows in her face. She stopped crying. I don't care if she's, I was like, I don't know if she has emotional needs right now, but if you blow in her face, she'll stop crying. I'm getting her done. John.
That's one of the main differences I see. Men are interested in result.
That's
Women
good.
are interested in process.
Yeah. And when you understand that both sides of this, and when we can talk about the other side next week, man, it really deepens that relationship. It's like, okay, I understand the perspective that you're coming to the table with. If you just understand that a little bit and explore that, you just strengthens the relationship.
I was thinking, like, I grew up in a house of girls, and
How many?
just two of us.
Just two?
But it's so different raising a house of boys and girls, because
Oh.
my boys see the perspective of her so much more, and it's so valuable. And
Yeah.
I've said it so many times. They're like, oh, okay, like that's note to self. And the opposite is with Emma Kate, is that she sees the perspective of boys. So I think it's just so valuable.
Yeah, that's
They get
good.
to see that.
Absolutely.
My newly wedded friend, at the time, I was talking to her like a couple days after she got married. And I was at her wedding, so we were talking about that. And I was saying, you and your new husband dance so well. Like, how did you learn to dance like that? She's like, honestly, I just let him lead. And she's explaining to me, she's like, Madeline, what, you need to know about, dancing, cause she'd seen me dance in relationships before. She was like, what you need to know about dancing is you just need to let him lead. You just need to let go and just let him lead you. And I'm like, that's why I can't.
Do you want me to tell the story or no?
Go ahead, I'll.
We were at a wedding. And we didn't know these people were going to do it to us, and I was not happy. But we were at a wedding, and so they asked us, like, hey, what was your walk out the door song on your wedding day? And for Sally and I, it was a George Strait, Frank Sinatra song, Fly Me to the Moon, because she loves George Strait and I love Frank Sinatra. And I was like, wow, that's made for us. So we had Fly Me to the Moon. We walk out on that. Well, we're at their wedding. They're like, here's John and Sally's song at their wedding. We're going to play and we're going to ask them to come out and dance. I was like, what?
We had never danced together, and I was not in appropriate shoes for dancing.
She was not. But you know who led? Not this. All right? I looked at her, I held her, and I'm like, you have to lead. And she did. And we tried a two-step together. It was absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. All right, that was the second bell. There goes, there's a moment for you to remember and know about your minister. But look forward to next week. Do your homework. Go up and get your homework off the table. And then we'll do the first questions together and answer them together. Good job, guys. Good stuff. I have a what?